everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Stephanie. This is 25 black authors you need to check out. Okay, so it's February. It's Black History Month. I do blackout all year long where I try my best to read more black authors. But I figured since it's Black History Month and everyone's still compiling their read list and they might find that they want something new. Over on Twitter, there was like this little POC list thing that people were, throwing around. But come to find out, I actually got a copy. It might not be the same list that everyone else got, or there might have been a couple lists going around, but the list that I got had a whole bunch of YA and fantasy people of color on them, and that's fine. That's great. Appreciate that. So I went ahead and built my own over there on Twitter. So if you're following me, you can hit me up on my DM and I can send you that list. But I figured I'd put into a video form 25 of, I'd say my favorite. 25 of my favorite black authors that I've read and suggest a book for you guys. So I won't go completely give you a review of the book. I will just give you the author's name and I will tell you which book to start with, or the book that I have read, where I started, my love for them, and sort of a reason why. Hope that works for you. And hopefully you guys will get some really good, recommendations from this video. People that or authors that you hadn't heard of. Maybe you'll be surprised to hear an author's name and didn't know that they were a black author, and then you're going to go out and check them out. So, yes, let's get to this list. So, first and foremost, I must tell you guys to go read The Color Purple from Alice Walker. I mean, this is like quintessential reading right here. It is a beautiful story about sexuality, about sisters, about friendship, about family, and just amazingness. And if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know that I am not about reading about the civil rights movements or the atrocities that have happened in the United States against black people. But this book, it's a memoir, and well, it's not a memoir. It's almost like a memoir, and it's just beautiful. I love the movie. I wish I had seen the play when it was on Broadway. I love the book. If you have the chance to get this book on audiobook, the version of it that is narrated by Alice Walker, do so, because woo, she does her thing. She does her thing, and it is absolutely amazing. Next, I am going to talk about OG Beverly Jenkins. I suggest you guys go check out Tempest. I have not found a single book of hers that I have read, and I've read a couple of hers that I disliked, like, at all. Like, I love them all. They're all educational, and they're all entertaining, and it's all black love. Love, love, love. Tempest was the first one that I checked out from her, and yes, 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 yes. Deals with some very hard-hitting subjects and times in black history, but at the same time, giving you the entertainment to keep you drawn in, and it's not too heavy, over heavy subjects. Next, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite black authors, and that's Kennedy Ryan. I'm going to tell you guys always to go check out the Grip series. This was the first series of hers that I read. Since then, I have read pretty much every other book that she has written and haven't found one that I am just like, it's trash. I find something that I love about every single one of her books. But the Grip series is very special to my heart. It deals with a subject that I really tend to shy away from, but she did it in this well-balanced way that just I was so drawn into this story, and I loved every single moment of it. Next, I'm going to go tell you guys to check out Kennedy's bestie, Dylan Allen, and check out Thicker Than Water. Now, this book, whoo, I was very interested in this book. It's about immigration, or it has an immigration sort of undertone to it, and it plays on the different sections of it, or the different sides to it and everything like that. And I think no matter what side you are on when it comes to the laws of immigration here in the United States, I think you're going to be so much better for reading this book. It's beautiful, it's raw, and I just thought it was a beautiful story, and I definitely suggest that people go out and check this one out. Next author I'm going to talk about is Mia Sosa. Now, this is the only book that I have read by Mia Sosa, but if the rest of her books are like this book, and that is The Worst Best Man, which just released, I am going to devour the rest of her backlist and all the other books that she has put out. She is a phenomenal writer when it comes to bringing in culture and bringing in the angst, and this one was amazing. I loved it. It had witty banter, it had sexy times, and the characters were just absolutely amazing. They were strong, but they were vulnerable, and I loved every single minute of this book. The next author I'm going to talk about is JN Welsh, and I had not read a single book from this author until I read In Tune by her, and she brings this unique sort of feel to the music scene that I guess I just needed it. I needed it right then, and this book brought me into her orbit, and I am so happy to be there. I read her next book that's set in the music scene as well, and I really enjoyed that one as well. Next author I'm going to talk about is Whitney G. I'm going to suggest you guys go check out Turbulence. It's hot, it's sexy, it's angsty, it's fun, and I loved every single minute of it. Next, I'm going to talk about Brittany C. Cherry. She has so many books that I am just in love with, and they're available on so many different platforms, or so many different ways to get them, so many ways to obtain them. So like, I believe they're in KU, I know they're in, some of them are in Audible Escape program. Oh my goodness, there's so many ways to get to her. I suggest you guys should go check out The Gravity of Us, which is one of the ones that I first fell in love with, and I absolutely just love her writing. She has witty banter, she has sexy times, and some of them have a little bit of mystery to them and some suspense, and just she has a little bit of something for everyone in her books. Next, I'm going to talk about BRENDA Jackson. She is an OG, and I fell in love with her writing and her style when I read Love in Catalina Cove. This book was like drama upon drama upon drama, but I was here for the drama of the small town and secrets, and so much fun that I wanted to know more about the other characters, and Intel finished this series and was just like, yes, can I have some more, please? Is there more characters in Catalina Cove that you can tell me about? Please send them my way. Next author I'm going to talk about is Rachel Ellers, and she is another OG that you guys, if you haven't heard of her and you haven't read any of her books, you're sleeping on her. I really, really enjoyed her Wickham Falls Seal novel that I read of hers. It's about an interracial couple, and it was very entertaining, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, this next author is no stranger to BookTube, but of course Alyssa Cole had to be on this list. And my favorite of the Reluctant Royal series is Once Ghosted, Twice Shy. It's a female romance, and I was here for it, and I loved every single minute of it. I wanted more out of that book and out of that story. Next, I'm going to talk about Reese Ryan, and her first book that I read was Engaging the Enemy, and I loved the witty banter. I loved that it was a friends to enemies to lovers story, and I just really enjoyed it. Next, I'm going to suggest you guys go check out Lucy Eden. Now, this book that I'm going to suggest is not the first book that I read of Lucy's, but after I read the first book that I read of hers, I immediately went out and bought every single book that she had out, and I absolutely adored Bear With Me. It's about an influencer that has to go and find herself, and after she has a bad run with a guy, and yes, it's a shifter book. It's paranormal. I just loved it. Loved it oh so much. Next, I'm going to talk about Rebecca Witherspoon, and Rafe is my ginger nanny prince. I just love this book oh so much. I mean, I had never read a male nanny story before, and I just loved every single moment of it. The next author I'm going to talk about is Andy J. Christopher, and Not the Girl You Marry. This is a biracial twist on and gender swap of how to lose a guy in 10 days, and I really enjoyed the story, and I think you guys should go check it out. Next author I'm going to talk about is Talia Hibbard. This is another one where this isn't the first book that I read from her, but this is one of my favorite books, and that is Untouchable. I really connected to the storyline and story of this couple and of this black female character, and I was just here for this story. The next author I'm going to talk about is Naima Simone, and woo! The book that started it off for me with Naima was Grading Curves, and it's about a mature woman who decides to be wild one night, and then come to find out she has a connection with her wild moment, and yes, so many yeses, yes. Devoured some other books after I finished reading this one. Next, we're going to talk about Riley Hart, and she writes male romances for the most part, and I really enjoyed Test Drive by her, and it took me into the rest of the series. This is actually book number 3 in that series, and it made me want to go back and read the rest of the series to find out how all these other couples were intertwined, and, you know, how they connected to the story, and it just drew me into that world. Another author I'm going to tell you guys to go check out is Nana Malone, and I read her Game Set Match story back in the beginning as well. I believe I got it for like 99 cents on Amazon back in the day, and it was suggested because I was all into interracial romances, and I loved every single minute of this. It has sports within it. It has some kids, like, you know, yeah, it's just really good. It's really good. Go read it. Go read it. It's fun. It's sexy. And I really enjoyed it. The next author I'm going to talk about is L.V. Lewis. And the series that I read from her is 50 Shades of Jungle Fever. Now, I found this on Audible Escape. I don't know if it's still there or not, but, or available there anymore. But I loved this play off of 50 Shades of Grey, kind of racially, you know, swapped. The characters are interracial, and it really gives more in-depth perspective from a black woman in the BDSM community, and I loved every single moment of it. Like, loved it. Did not want it to end. The next author I'm going to talk about is Alexa Martin, and the series I love, but it started with Intercepted, and I devoured this book. I was so leery in the beginning of this book with the hashtags and stuff like that, but then as the book went along, I was like, yes, I was so here for it. And to know that Alexa uses some of her, you know, her own experiences within the story, and things that she has had to deal with being a professional footballer's wife and spouse and things like that. I was here for it. Having her family there, yes, so many yeses. So many yeses. And now my relationship with this author is just like, mwah, love it, love it, love it. She writes a book, and I'm going to go and try and read it because, yes, I really, I just love her work. I really, really love her work. The next author I'm going to tell you about is P.J. Adams, and the book is Black Widow. It has been out for a long time. I read this back when I was, when I first started reading again, and this book really, like, is sticking with me, because as I was going through my list of Black authors to, you know, recommend to you guys, I was like, I remember this one really catching my, you know, catching my eye, and I still remember how twisted and crazy it got, and I really kind of want more, because it doesn't really leave on a cliffhanger, but it's not a closed-ended story. So yeah, definitely think if you're looking for something crazy and different and twisted and things like that, go check that book out. The next author I'm going to talk about is LeTeisha Newton, and I raved about this book in 2019. It's called Whispers in the Dark, and it's about serial killers. It's dark, it's twisted, it's crazy, but it is oh so good, so amazing. And then finally, I'm going to tell you guys to go check out Olivia Gaines, and loved this book when I read it. It's called A Menu for Loving. It brings in this foodie aspect that I was just devouring at the time, and I loved how rich and well thought out the food choices were. The romance was sweet and swoony and sexy at the right moments, and just so many yeses. I think if you're into those different little things that I just named off, go check this author out and her works. Alrighty, so there were 25 Black authors that I think you guys should go check out and check out their books with those recommendations. Of course, you don't have to use those specific books. You can go check out the author and then find books that you may want to read as well. Let me know if you have heard of any of those authors that I just listed off down in the comment section. Let's discuss them. Have you read any of the books by these authors? Is there a book that I didn't list from an author that's on this list that I definitely need to go check out? Let's discuss them down in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. I still have my Ko-fi page, so any donations that you guys can to provide to me is very appreciated. So please, if you would. But yeah, I think that's it. All my socials are down there in the description box. Make sure you're checking the description box as well if you need spellings or anything like that and I talk too long or talk too fast, things like that. Yeah, I keep saying things like that. I must be tired. Okie dokie. So, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.